Hi, Colette. How you doing? All right, good job. Nice setup here. Looks great. So you've got the three big major considerations are presentation for your logo, for your word mark, and for your monogram. That's fantastic. You've got, your presentation rules for a dark background as well as a light background. So good consideration there. Um, Right now, honestly, I think this type right here is a little too small in relationship to the size of the market itself. I would increase that type size. The spatial relationship there is a little bit uncomfortable as this seems to be overwhelmingly large based on the size of the type. Watch my cursor, I would say something like that. Okay, so good job, great consideration there. Word mark looks fantastic. One thing I would recommend with the word mark is to pull this back over here, Publishing LLC, and really get that in alignment with the R. I would say the right side of the C, that beak of the C right there, would come right over here to the beginning of that portion of the serif for the R in Minotaur. So you're not going to align it right to the vertical stem, but you're going to move it over a little bit, align it right about to where that serif is. Not the end of the serif, but more the beginning. Align it right there. Or, depending on how it looks, if you want to pull it all the way to the where that vertical stem ends, that's fine too. I think right now we have this little negative space right here that's creating a little bit of visual discomfort. But that looks great. You've got your word mark on the white background and on the dark background. That's fantastic. Likewise, with your monogram, that's great. Then over here, you've got some do's and don'ts, and that's fantastic. You should come up with some more don'ts. Quite typically, you've got maybe 6 to 10 examples of how not to use the logo. Also, you've got this color right here, which you're indicating for the background. You mentioned this is the background, so you're using this color on what looks like a letterhead, but that color is not covered over in your color palette. So be sure that if you intend on using that color, that is listed as one of the colors in your color palettes. Okay, font selection. So go ahead and go through here and tell us what fonts represent what area. So in other words, this is the font I'm using in the logo mark, and this is the font I'm using in the word mark, and this is the font for the M in the monogram, etc. So just go ahead and define those, identify those a little further. This clear space is interesting, but the one thing I'm not seeing in this clear space is typically, you've got this clear area indicated, but you're not telling us how large it is. You can't say a half an inch, right? Because it depends on how you scale this. So if this is scaled bigger, that half an inch is going to become irrelevant. So what we typically do is we typically take an existing portion of the logo itself. Let's say we take the N, right? We take that N and we place it right up there, around the bounding box of the entire logo itself, and then place that N in the upper corner in all four corners, and then draw those lines that would intersect where the N sits on the outer bounding box of the logo itself. That would indicate that is the area for clear distance. Okay, so it doesn't matter how large this is. We could scale it up bigger. The N is going to get bigger, and it's going to act as a basic measurement on a sliding scale. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. That's how that's done. Okay, so what you would do is you would take that N, all right, you would place it up there in all four corners, then draw your line out, intersecting and showing that in a darker color like you've done, indicating that that's an area where we don't encroach on the logo itself. I would also recommend establishing clear space for your word mark as well as your monogram as well. We've also got, let me see, you've got monogram. Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, all right. So other than that, I think we're looking fantastic. Yeah, just set up those final considerations, and I'd say we're good to go. All right, good work. Thank you very much.